Hello, I'm Cindy Manus, and today I'm going to be talking to you about healing from divorce. But honestly, these steps will work to help you heal from any time you've been hurt in your life. I was struggling really bad in my second marriage, and it was due to a lot of baggage that I had brought into this marriage from my first. God showed me that I had to unpack all of that stuff so I had room to make new memories in my next marriage. However, it doesn't even have to be in marriage, and you don't have to be getting remarried. That baggage affected all of my relationships, not just my marriage, but my relationship with my children, with my parents, with my friends. So unpacking was definitely a necessity for me, and it's a necessity for so many others. So I'm going to walk you through the steps today. I'm going to try to keep it kind of short and just share with you what God showed me and the path that He took me down to bring me from bogged down with all that baggage to living a life healed and restored. I am now married. I have been married for 7 years, and I would like to say that we are happily married now. The first few years were a bit of a struggle because of that baggage. One day, in a moment of desperation, I fell on my face before the Lord, and I just asked Him to fix me, to fix whatever it was that was wrong with me. And it was in those moments that He led me through these steps. So the first thing God had me do was tell Him the bad things that had happened, the bad things that was holding me back, the bad things that were hurting me, that were still causing me pain. Because if you're remembering something from the past and it's bringing pain into your present, you're not healed from it. That all has to be processed. It has to be dealt with. Otherwise, your mind's just going to keep bringing it back up and ruining your day because your brain wants it processed, okay? So I had to speak it out loud to the Lord. The reason you speak it out loud is because that's the way that you capture that thought. If you leave it bouncing around inside of your brain, it's going to trigger all different other kinds of thoughts. And you're wanting to deal with the one specific memory. So as He would bring these bad memories to my mind, I would tell God, okay, this is what happened in this situation. And then I would validate how I felt. So I would just tell God, that made me feel sad. That made me feel unloved. It made me feel like I would never be anything. Whatever it was that I was feeling in that moment, in that memory. And then I would just tell God, okay, God, I don't want to deal with this anymore. I don't want this a part of my baggage. I'm giving it to You. And in that moment of release, God took that away from me and replaced it with peace and forgiveness. The more I unpacked the bad, the more I was able to forgive the ones that had hurt me, whether it be my ex-spouse or somebody else from my past. Like I said, this is universal. It works for so much more than just divorce. The next thing He had me do was remember the good. And the reason that was important is because a lot of times when we've been hurt, we want to block out the good. We want to just remember the bad. It justifies leaving the relationship. It justifies the unforgiveness that we're holding, the pain that we're feeling. We don't want to remember the good. But it's necessary. You've got to unpack those just as well as you unpack the bad. Just like your suitcase, if you went on a trip, you wouldn't just have dirty laundry in there, you would have souvenirs. So let's get those souvenirs out. So I did the same process. I told God this was a good memory, and I had trouble with this one. I struggled, and I did have to pray and ask God to remind me of the good times. And He did. He started bringing these thoughts to my remembrance. So then I would remember a thought. I would tell God, okay, this happened, and I would remember being happy in this moment. I remember being at peace. This was a good day, and processed all of that. Once I got all that done, then God, He's never done. And I'm not going to tell you that this happened all in one day. This was probably the span of a few months. Okay, God worked this stuff out of me because I'm a little stubborn, and some of it I wanted to hold on to. So after I got through with the second step, the next thing I had to do was look at myself in the mirror. I had to acknowledge all the things that I had done wrong in our marriage, all the things that I had done wrong in that relationship, which is a hard pill to swallow. None of us want to look at what we've done wrong, but it was necessary for growth. If I didn't acknowledge that I had messed up in some areas, I would never fix those, and my future relationships would just be traveled down the exact same pathway. It would be the same trip, just with a different road sign, okay? So once I did that, I acknowledged all the areas that I had failed in, all the times that I wasn't the wife that I should be, or the friend that I should be, or whatever circumstance, relationship it was about. And then I just asked for forgiveness. I asked God to forgive me for that and to help me do better, to quicken my mind and let me see if I was picking up those old habits and help me correct them in my current relationships. After going through all of that, I felt better, like a weight had been lifted off of me. I felt like a new person, but I was also empty because I had just emptied a whole lot of baggage. My previous marriage lasted 8 years and we were together for 10. That was a lot of stuff to unload. Imagine carrying that around your whole life. So after getting that out, I felt lighter, but I also felt empty. And that's why it was so important for me to begin filling my life up with good memories. So now I could deal with the issues in my relationships as they arose, and they wouldn't be bringing up baggage from the past. Because sometimes somebody would say something to me and it would trigger a response that was out of proportion to what they had spoken. But it was simply because it was bringing up pain from my past. So now I'm dealing with emotions in the present that aren't being amplified by the memories from the past. So now I have room in my luggage to pack a whole new trip. So now I can pack the things that I need into my relationship. But I'm also going to fill it up with God. And the reason I'm going to fill it up with God is because God is above all the most important person, the most important deity in my life. The more I prayed, the more I read my Bible, the more I fasted and committed myself and consecrated myself to the Lord, the easier it was to become this new person that was no longer bound by her past. Because see, when we've lived in our past for so long, a lot of times that becomes our identity. And you don't know how to be somebody other than that hurt individual. But God doesn't desire for us to live there. So as I emptied myself and I emptied all of this pain to God, I began filling myself up with His truth, looking at the Bible and seeing what God said about me and what His Word said I was, and leaning into who He called me to be. And He completely transformed me. It was like a caterpillar to a butterfly experience. Not quite a butterfly yet, but I'm still working on it. God's not done with me yet. Thank you, Jesus. So if you're struggling with memories from your past, if you're struggling from these hurts, if you're struggling with that unforgiveness, go through these steps. I encourage you, make sure you're speaking it out loud though. That's how you capture it. You can't skip that part. You have to say it out loud. So find your spot by yourself and pour your heart out to God. As the memories come to you, even if you're going about your day and a memory comes to you, find you a quiet spot to go to and just tell God, this memory came to me. I'm not letting it ruin my day. This is how this memory makes me feel. I'm giving it to you. And you will be amazed at how quickly He takes that pain away and replaces it with peace and joy like only He can do. So go through those steps with Jesus and see what He will do in your life. I can't wait for you to see how quickly He will transform you into someone you never thought you could possibly be. I pray that you have a very blessed day and that you start your journey to healing today.